Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is optibotimus finished with another video review. And today, thanks to the folks at ThreeA, we're going to be taking a look at their brand new premium scale figure of the Transformers Dark of the Moon, Optimus Prime. This thing is absolutely spectacular. For the package, if you remember my reviews of the Bumblebee and Megatron that I took a look at a while ago, you got a very similar package sort of look with this one. As you can see, you got a side silhouetted image of Optimus Prime, and as you swivel it off to the side of it, you can see that it's kind of two-layered. You got an upper section and a lower section. You come around to the back of the package, and you have this tech specs down here in the bottom, as well as the Transformers logo right along here. But I absolutely love that they put the tech specs on there. I think that's very classic, very transformy. That's really not even a word, but it just feels like, you know, Transformer sort of thing. And then you can see that this side wraps around with more of Optimus Prime's head. I'm probably going to get in the way here, but setting this down, you can see that it slides up just like so. I'm putting this off to the side, and then on the inside you have the layers and layers of foam that we got previously, like with their Megatron and Bumblebee figure, and it is absolutely protected. First layer here has all of his accessories. Next layer here, just kind of trying to do this, there we go. You can see it's more foam protecting the actual figure. This thing is absolutely safe in here. You can see, oh, I forgot an actual piece. But you can see that he is wrapped completely around in foam. So you got these little cutouts, you keep coming down more, and there you have more foam protecting the figure. I mean, it's absolutely very impressive, the amount of care that they put in making sure that this figure gets to you without any damage done to it whatsoever. I mean, the box could be heavily damaged, and you can actually see that on mine. Get this back up there, and then where's it at? You can see that it was, you know, dented right here. But packaging wise, nothing happened to it because, or I should say figure wise, nothing happened to it because the package was just so well done in the design of it that it absolutely protects the figure, and you're not going to have any problems really, or at least you shouldn't. So when you're paying $400 for a premium figure, you want a package that's like this. And without question, the package that you get absolutely reflects the quality that you're going to be getting with the figure itself. But we're not here to take a look at the packaging, so let's get this out of here. Let's get this out of the way. Let's bring Optimus Prime in here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have the Dark of the Moon Optimus Prime opened up and out of his packaging. And I've said this before in my videos for Bumblebee and the version of Megatron. ThreeA has done an absolutely amazing job of capturing the likeness in the details once again here for specifically Optimus Prime. Now right up front, I'm going to tell you, no, this doesn't transform. So many people will complain, well, I don't want a Transformer that doesn't transform. The movie had so many parts. In a real life car, there are millions and millions of parts that it would be basically almost impossible to recreate in terms of an accurate representation of the character and also have them transform. I mean, even the CGI itself cheated. So, no, he doesn't transform, but this guy still looks absolutely terrific. Now, first up, you do get an instruction manual with them. I do want to make sure that you understand that you should really go through this. It shows you all the various parts in terms of the articulation, how to attach various pieces, how to install the batteries, things like that. This is definitely a good guide to kind of have on hand so you know what this figure can actually do. There's a lot of very small, intricate parts on this. And while I don't feel it's really all that fragile, you still want to be careful when you're manipulating things, mostly because it is, first of all, made out of plastic, and as you're moving things around, you can very easily maybe squeeze too tight on his arm or something, which could potentially damage it. Now, coming down for his accessories, this is the Bambaland exclusive, which basically means that you do get this big, giant gun. This looks absolutely terrific. The amount of detail detail in this as well really is quite impressive. You can see a lot of wear throughout the whole thing, giving it a very aged and dirty look. This really does look terrific. So unfortunately, the only way to get this though is by getting it through Bambaland. Now some people have kind of complained about it because, you know, he should come with a gun, and it's kind of unfortunate that they use this as an exclusive, but they decided to do it with this. I have no idea, but the gun still does look really nice, and you can see just how large it is. I mean, if I were to hold it, I mean, like, that's a really big gun. Obviously the handle's a little bit smaller, but you can also see that he's got some posts right here on the handle, which works very nicely for pegging into his actual hand to give a good stable hold for the gun. So really very nice on there. He also does come with, now these are standard accessories, he comes with a pair of I guess Nux. These are what he used to go around punching Decepticons, and it just slides on there, but real great detail on here as well. You can see some nice variation with the paint. You got a golder color here on the outside, and again, I'll show you, it just slides on, but I'll show you how to attach it. But some nice little rivet marks there on the underside as well. And then also he does come with his little Energon Swords. Now, they're not actually swords. He doesn't hold them. They tab into the space in between where his hand is and then his little forearm guards. You just take these little pieces off right there, you slide it up, and it kind of locks into place. So like I said, these are standard accessories, really very nice. I like the clear lucent plastic that's used, giving it a very Energon sort of look. You can see that he's got some Cybertronian writing that's actually put on there, but again, some nice wear marks and paint variation throughout the metal sort of looking section. It isn't metal, but it does have a very cool look to it that does nicely replicate metal. So for his accessories though, that's all that you get with them. But coming in to take a closer look at the actual figure itself, again, this thing has an amazing amount of detail. You come around here now, there is some assembly that is required here. These little pieces down here need to be attached to the little piston things that flex up. His tires here on the side are on ball joints that do need to attach. And then these little pieces here in the back also need to attach. These pieces here are a little bit precarious kind of because they tab in on the inside part right here. It goes around here on a post, and occasionally when you're moving this around, this will pop off, so you do want to be careful. And then also you do have some battery sections that I didn't put the batteries in. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the batteries necessary to kind of show you up the light up feature, but he does have some lights. Specifically here in his abdomen area and then his eyes as well. And we're going to be, there's Tox. Hi Tox! There, no, he's just going to sit there, okay. But the amount of detail that is worked in this is absolutely phenomenal. You can come in and see the actual detail in the paint is absolutely breathtaking. It really does have an absolute metallic look, which just on the surface here looks truly amazing. And then you can see all the intricate little details throughout the entire piece. I mean, this thing is made up of a lot of parts, and you just get a sense of all the work that went into this. There's layers and layers of parts on this guy that really come together to make up a truly magnificent looking piece. You come around here to the back, you can see that he still has his flame details here. You can see a great amount of wear on it. One thing that's cool is it's also fairly textural. When you're feeling the actual parts, it feels like they're scratched up. So it's not necessarily just paint. I mean, it actually feels worn, which is amazing. You got some nice chrome sections here for his gas tanks. The little tires here are made out of rubber, so you get some nice detail in that. And again, you can see some great paint detail on the inside here. You got some little red bits, and then all the little kind of gold sections kind of come through as well. You come around here to the elbow, you can see the gears and things like that. Again, amazing amount of detail. You got a nice Autobot logo in there. There's a lot of kind of movable parts on this. I think they advertise 70 points of articulation, which goes beyond just the shoulders or the elbows. I mean, these pieces right here are on ball joints, so you can kind of manipulate these around. These pieces right here are also on ball joints, so you can kind of manipulate the little abdomen area. This whole section right here is a little flexible pillar or piece that allows you to kind of, well, make some parts of it fall off. That's not supposed to happen. So there, get that right back up on there. But again, all those minor little details that really help just to pull everything together and give it an absolute realistic kind of look and feel to it. It's just really very impressive. These little pieces right down here are even on ball joints. So you can position these and get these kind of in a way where you're happy with the look for it. So really very cool. Now obviously that's a little bit crooked, so maybe if I straighten that out a little bit. Coming down here to take a look at the lower section of his body. Again, the hip area is phenomenal. You do have these little pieces right here that do rotate around. So again, another piece of articulation that isn't necessarily just the standard elbow joints. And then again, you got some nice gold detail on the inside there. You come around here, like I said, these pieces here are on ball joints, so you can rotate these around. You can kind of flex them in and out. These pieces here are on ball joints, so you can rotate that around. But see, in manipulating it, that comes off. So you do have to kind of be careful when you're manipulating these to prevent them from falling off. So you kind of want to, I almost wish I could not have to constantly keep attaching those. I wish that was like permanently attached, because you got to push that in, and then, like I said, it could dislodge just from moving this around. But all in all, I mean, still real great detail. You can see you got some nice gold kind of chrome on the inside there. These pieces right back here can flex up, so more articulation points. Come around here to the front. His knee pads can actually flex forward and back. But again, layers of detail put in there with the coloring and the sculpting. Coming down to take a look at Tux cleaning his back. Tux, why do you got to do that right here, dude? I mean, you could do that anywhere else, but you got to do that here. You come down here to the legs, and again, you can see some nice layering of the details. Great paint variation on here. You can see where the little hubcap section for these tires are and everything. Oh, you also, I mean, that little piece here flexes. There's a lot of articulation in the feet. I'll go over all the main articulation here in a bit, but just detail-wise, absolutely spectacular how this all comes out. I mean, like I said, just, I mean, feeling it. It is so cool that I'm able to, oh, and these little pieces here, these also flex around as well. It's so cool that you're able to feel the wear on it, not just see it visually, but you can actually feel the scrapes and everything. I mean, that's amazing. The feet actually have a really rough, not rusted kind of texture, but it does have a rough feel to it. So just amazing what kind of detail they put into it. I mean, I have Megatron and I have Bumblebee. You know, in terms of improving the details and things like that, they have gone above and beyond what they did with Megatron and Bumblebee. With Optimus Prime here, it just is really quite impressive. I honestly do feel like I'm saying the same kind of stuff over and over again, but I don't know how else to describe it. These little pieces right up here, you got this little section that slides out. So again, I don't know if that's a part of what they consider an articulation point or what, but you can actually move these in and out. You can do that on both sides as well. That just kind of rotates out. This whole section here flexes forward and back. This can actually move out as well. That allows you to facilitate some of this extra range of motion here in his arm. So like I said, 70 points of articulation, and a lot of it is more than just the standard stuff. You know, I mean, it's more than the neck being able to look up and down and left and right. It's all these little intricate details, which does just make it, you know, more accurate and just more lifelike, I guess. Just really quite impressive. For his accessories, starting out first, as I said, this is a Bamaland.com exclusive, so the only way to get this gun is to have pre-ordered it from that actual site, which definitely is a little bit disappointing because this is a really nice large piece. But as you can see, you got the little posts on the inside here of his handle that bringing his hand into focus so that you can kind of see that, rotate that right there. On the inside here, you can see that he does have a little hole on the actual palm, which is really nice because Megatron and, well, I guess mostly Megatron, Bumblebee didn't really need it, but Megatron did have a little bit harder of a time holding his gun because you were just relying on the fingers. This you can actually take, and let me line this up proper, get that right there. It's kind of hard to see because I'm behind a camera, but get that positioned in there. Just like that. Wrap the thumb around, wrap the rest of the fingers around, give that a nice little squeeze, and it holds in there fairly nicely. I mean, you can get a good pose with it, and it's pretty solid on the actual hand itself. I mean, that's really very nice. Wow, hi, I'm Optimus Prime and I want your face. But you can definitely see that it holds on there fairly nicely. Again, unfortunately, there's only one way to get this, and that's through Bambaland, but this really is a nice gun and nicely can be held into his hand. Now, the other side here, now these are the standard accessories that come with them. You do get the little knucks, and all you do is you slide this right over the actual blade looking section right here, so you just push this in just like so, and now you have those the extending knuckle pieces that allows him, you know, to punch Decepticons and break faces and things like that. It is nice, but it's not something that I'm probably going to use a lot. One thing that I would caution is that you are sliding it on the material here, so over time, if you constantly keep doing it, you could wear the paint off, so I would be careful. And then he also does come with his little Energon things. Now, I actually like these. In terms of a Dark of the Moon look, it was pretty cool to have this. Now, on the inside here, you can kind of see right there is the little slot for these. So you just take this. First off, you'd have to remove this. So as you can see, that was on there. That's just a little kind of storage thing. So take that off and then slide this in that gap right there. Give that a nice little push, locks that in there, and that looks cool. I really do like that. And you get another one here on this side. Rotate that arm around. So again, take this, pull this little piece off, put this inside that little slot area, give that a nice little push to lock that in, and that's a cool look for him. I really do dig it. Some people don't necessarily like the whole Energon sword kind of thing on there, but I think it looks really nice. You know, in terms of both of a movie design as well as obviously a figure look here. I mean, it looks really nice. I do kind of wish he came with, you know, like the axe that he used, and then when you take this out, again, be very careful, kind of wiggle, and you don't want to put too much pressure on things, but get that to slide out just like so. Do that on this side as well. This one comes out a little bit easier from time to time, or not at all. There we go, just kind of wiggle and bring it out just like that, and make sure you don't knock the figure down. But yeah, I would have kind of liked it if he came with that axe, just because that was also something that he used fairly heavily in the Dark of the Moon movie. But in general, I'm happy with the accessories that he comes with. Somebody was asking on my Facebook page about this, and just kind of giving you an idea of how big this can get compared to Megatron's gun. I mean, you can see that it isn't as long as Megatron's gun, but it is definitely a lot more massive than Megatron's gun. And then I guess if you wanted to, you could flex the fingers around here and working it. You could probably, yeah, you can get him holding Megatron's gun. I mean, it would take a little bit of, like I said, just manipulating of the fingers, but you can do something like that if you really wanted to. So if you have those other figures, you can mix and match the accessories, I guess, just a little bit. Now, taking him and lifting him off the turntable, I'm going to do some size comparisons for you. So, setting him right there. Here you have him next to the 3A Bumblebee, and as you can see, Bumblebee is a much smaller figure by comparison, but detail-wise is both exemplary in both of them. One thing that kind of does put me off is what we're looking at in terms of the scale. Regardless of which way you look at it, either Optimus Prime is too small or Bumblebee is too large. Now, that's not to say that they're bad looking together, but, you know, in terms of an accurate representation of how they were in the film, Bumblebee should be, I mean, he's about right here. He really should be a little bit more around here, if this is the scale that we're going for. Or conversely, Optimus Prime should be a little bit bigger. It doesn't look bad at all, but, you know, in terms of a true representation between the films, the scale is not 100% accurate here. In terms of a scale representation, what I will say is that I do think that the Prime 1 Studio version of the Dark of the Moon Optimus Prime scales much better with Bumblebee. Height-wise, this version of Optimus Prime is about 19 inches tall. That Prime 1 Studios one is about 24.5 inches tall. So scaling with those two, I think, work a little bit better. And I have absolutely no problem having Bumblebee kind of standing with that Prime 1 Studios Optimus to kind of recreate that movie look. And then here we have them next to their Dark of the Moon version of Megatron. And as you can see, this though scales very nicely together. Megatron initially was a taller character than Optimus Prime. Then by the time that Dark of the Moon rolled around and obviously he took on a new form, he was a smaller character and, you know, much more eye level with Optimus. And that's where I think this scale works very nicely. And while, like I said, their version of Bumblebee scales a little bit better with that Prime 1 Studios Optimus, this scales perfectly, and this is a great display just by itself. Now for Optimus's regular articulation, they mentioned that he's got 70 points, which, like I said, a lot of it has to do with all these small little parts that can move around and articulate just on their own. But the standard articulation points that you would have would be, you got a really nice rotation here at the neck. You can make it look left. I mean, you can get it looking all the way. And again, look at the detail on the side. I mean, that's amazing. You can get it looking left and right. He can look up and down very nicely. So you get a real cool range of motion there. The shoulders here, first off, are on these little ratchet joints that flex at the armpit. So you can move that forward and back very nicely. He can also rotate outward. This little piece here can move a little bit forward, so you can get it to about there, which is a pretty good range of motion if you ask me. He can also rotate, bringing that down. This is a very heavy ratchet joint, and some people were talking about how it kind of feels a little bit fragile when you're doing it. I mean, yes, it does, but especially when you're talking like the tension that's put on this other little armpit joint, I can see it, but as long as you go fairly slow with it, I don't think you're going to have too many problems in the long run. But it is something that you will want to be careful with. Lifting this up, you can see he also rotates here at the upper part of the bicep. But again, make sure that you're kind of holding onto a solid place. These little pieces here kind of stick out. So while you're rotating it, you don't want to put too much pressure on one of these the areas that jut out, because you could potentially damage it. So he does rotate up there at the upper part of the bicep. He bends here at the elbow at a pretty decent, little over a 90-degree bend. And then you come down to the actual hands. Those are on ball joints, so you get a nice full range of motion with those. They can move in, out, they can rotate all the way around. You come to the fingers. Each one of them are individually articulated. The thumb down here is out of ball joint, so you can flex that however you want. And then you've got two different joints there for the actual thumb. Same thing here with the hands, except the fingers. But unlike the thumb here, at the base of the fingers, it's just a swivel. So that swivels forward and back, and then you can bend it. One thing that does kind of, I don't want to say isn't good, but you can't really get a full kind of fist with them. You can get a close fist, I mean, but that's about as fist-like as you're going to get that hand into, which isn't bad or anything, and in terms of posing, it'll look good, but I do kind of wish that you could get a little bit better of an actual closed grip on them. Getting these arms lifted up and out of the way, you can see that, again, he does have a waist rotation, so you can rotate that around. You do have to be careful, again, because parts can get in the way, but you do have a little bit of flex there. You got a little rock, kind of like it's a ball joint of sorts. This little piece right here has a little hinge and then a ball joint, so you can rotate that around and kind of position that, so you can hinge that up and down. But like I said, that's not one of the main points of articulation. The hips here, this is actually really fairly cool, but again, be careful where you're grabbing things, because I always put my hands where there's a part and I don't want to damage anything. But these hips are really very nice, very nice heavy ratchet joints that allow you to move it forward and back, and then it can also rotate in and out. But you also have a little sliding section. It's hard to get to because, again, you have to do a little bit of force, but you don't want to put too much force on a place that could potentially be damaged. So these hips do slide out. Let's see. It's, like I said, hard. There we go. And then, yeah, something popped off. Oh, that was just this little piece right here. That I need to glue that back on. But you can see the hips actually do extend outward, and this piece here, I was moving that and that fell apart. So you can see the hips do extend out, and you get a much wider range of motion here in the other little piece. I'm probably going to glue these on, to be totally honest with you. So you do have that set of extending joints, which allows you to get a further range of motion, which is nice. And then you just push those back in. And then right up here, you've got a rotation at his thigh. You do have these tires, so be careful when you're rotating that around, but you can rotate at the upper part of the thigh. Come down here to the knee. This section here flexes up, and then you can bend this at two joints. You've got one joint down here and then one at the upper section right there. So nice range of motion for the knee. And then the feet, these things are really very cool. So you got the little flex. It's on a ball joint right here. Move this kind of out of the way. You can move that on a ball joint forward and back, but again, you got parts that do get in the way. Oh, and then you got a little piece right here that flexes up. I never even noticed that. So that moves up, and then you can flex the foot on a nice bend right there, and then you can pivot it side to side, and then the little actual toe section does flex forward and back as well. I kind of wish that these little toe pieces could flex, but unfortunately you can't get them in any kind of position other than up and down. And then what is this? Oh, this just tabs on there. So as you're seeing, you know, I mean, there is some fragile parts on here. Luckily though, the parts seem to be able to just reattach very easily to it, which is nice. You don't need to, like I said, glue these on, but I think I'm going to just for my own sanity purposes. But overall, great range of motion with this guy. It is an improvement over the Bumblebee and Megatron, which is very nice. I mean, I guess it's Optimus Prime, so I guess you want to have the best in the main character for the movie, I guess. So it's really cool what they were able to actually put into this. He does have a little bit more of a dirty look than that Prime 1 Studio statue, but I dig it because it gives it, you know, that battle kind of look. You know, maybe instead of them giving this as an exclusive, I do kind of think that this should have been included. Maybe they could have made a way where his arm could be detached and have a completely, you know, battle damaged arm put on there. That would have been a cool kind of exclusive accessory. You know, allowing you to recreate that end scene of Dark of the Moon a little bit more than you can here. But for what it's worth, this guy really is phenomenal looking. I unfortunately wasn't able to show you the light up feature, but like I said, you do have the lights here, in here, and then also the head. Now that's one little thing that I think that I would have liked as well if they included the batteries, because those are kind of hard to find. But this guy really did turn out terrific. But I am really very impressed with how this guy turned out. Like I said, their Bumblebee and Megatrons were fantastic. And I really do feel that they elevated themselves here with Optimus Prime. Now, the unfortunate nature of things is we are only getting one more figure from the Michael Bay film, that being their version of Starscream. After that, they're done. They're moving on and doing other kind of Transformers related figures. And that's disappointing because I really feel that they're kind of hitting their stride here. And there's a lot of other really cool characters from Dark of the Moon that I would love them to do. Unfortunately, they have always been limited to just the Dark of the Moon movie. So only characters that were in that film are able to be created by them. But I mean, we could have gotten, you know, a Sideswipe or Ironhide. I would have loved a Wheeljack or Shockwave. There's a lot of characters in that film that I really would have loved to have gotten in terms of this premium scale sort of format. You know, and in terms of, you know, this scale and level of detail and articulation, there really isn't anybody right now that's making these that it even come close to competing with 3A. So I do wish it was a line that was continuing, but I am very happy with what we've gotten regardless. And I cannot wait to the end of this year to get that Starscream. Optimus here turned out great, and if it's any indication what we're going to get with Starscream, or even their future Transformers related products, I am very, very happy and looking forward to it. Now, a lot of places right now, if you want to pick this up, like I said, the price is around $400. It depends on the site that you go to, but that's roughly what you're going to be paying. Now, I do unfortunately think that the Bambaland exclusive is gone, and I believe Sideshow, this guy's on the wait list, so you can go there and join the wait list, and those sometimes convert to actual sales. But I do know that right now at Big Bad Toy Store, the pre-order has not sold out yet. So if you are looking to pick this guy up, that's probably going to be your best bet. So all you have to do for that is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Big Bad Toy Store where you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the wide range of 3A figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. And again, I want to send a very special thanks to the folks at 3A, specifically Cody, for helping to make this review possible. I'd also appreciate it that if you like this video to please like and share it. Also be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way you never miss a future review of mine. And as always, until next time, I'll talk to you later.